Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is another Thursday night's edition of FYF the show. I am
Look
your
at
host,
you doing better.
Rob. This is my co-host Toshiba, and together we are FYF the show. You know, we'll get more into the actual title of the show, a bit more into the episode. Just don't want the algorithm to pick up that we bugging out already. And welcome. Here we come together, and the purpose of our platform, this podcast, is changing the conversation around Black relationships. That is the goal, that is the objective. Not saying that we have things on lock or airtight or anything like that, but I do think we have very interesting perspectives. We have interesting conversations, and we'd like to share that with our family. On top of that, it's just like, yo, we got to do something different. Black people, we got to do something different. It's
And
not
when you say
working.
something different, expand for them, babe.
It's not working. What we're doing now. So however you want to quantify what we're doing now, we need to do something different. You know what I mean? Again, that's the purpose of the show. So tonight we're going to be talking. You know, we tend to focus on relationship type of things because we are in a relationship. And I think it changes the conversation a little bit in and of itself because you've got the men on one side of the bar screaming, you got the women on the other side of the bar screaming, and nobody's really coming together. We both look at it as men should handle men business, women should handle women's business, and if both parties do that, then the pee in the pool is starting to clear up a little bit. Right now, it is heavy, dark orange, radiant, glow in the dark urine all in the dating pool, and that's kind of some of what we're going to talk about. Not just the dating pool, but just because I mean like some pools have that huge shallow end.
Yes.
That's the dating pool now.
It's very shallow.
Yeah, like half of it is like
Shallow.
not even 1 foot deep. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is just that's what hookup culture is. That's what, my body, my choice has gotten us. And look, you to say we're gonna lower the standards for women to have sex, then guess what you also did?
You lowered the bar for men to do anything to get sex.
And that's why we're dealing with all of this mess right now on both sides. Because there are highly, highly, highly not prototypically masculine guys getting a lot of buns these days because that's what they want, I guess.
Well, I think what has happened is women have forgotten that we set the standard, right? You set the standard about what you want in a relationship, individually, collectively as a whole. Women set the standard when it comes to generally morality in society, right? Like that's why the mom goes, "No, Rob, you don't do that," right? In a perfect world, right? Morality is set by women. Therefore, when morality is changed and women make the determination that they do not want to or choosing to, am I not something wrong with my mic? Okay, so when women have made the choice that, hey, you know what? This is now the new morality. So a bunch of kids out of wedlock. You don't even need to get married to be with me. We can just shack up forever and 10, 15, 20 years, and then we break up and nobody gets anything. Like it's just we gotta change. Yeah. What do we really want? So again, women, we set the morality. So when you come into a relationship, it really is entirely up to you to say to this man, this is what I want. And this is what I will not tolerate. And he's either going to step up or he's going to say no. But guess what? If you kept going and a woman kept saying the same thing over and over and over again, at some point you're like, whoa, I've got to change because these women are not giving in.
And that's kind of where I think we're at. That's, at least the perspective that I'm going to be taking and looking at it is, look, man, it done got so loosey goosey out here that it really is up to men. That's the only way to protect yourself, is to enforce how you dealing with the opposite sex and how you engage in. And it sounds crazy, but I think that women done ruled casual sex for men too.
Sorry.
Because you can't really just, oh, I just want to bust. Like, you're going to bust, and 10 months later, you're going to be a dad. Surprise. And,
And we're sorry, our Instagram folks. We don't know if
I
you're
don't
able
even
to
worried
see
about
us.
that right now. Like,
And I hope you are able to hear us. Please let us know, because Instagram right now is bugging and saying that we're paused due to poor connection. If you would like, please go over to our YouTube page. We are also live on YouTube. So go over to our YouTube page, like, subscribe, and you can watch us live right now on YouTube and comment. It's probably a much better platform. So again, watch us on YouTube. Go on YouTube, please. Everybody, go on YouTube.
Fuck Your Feelings, the show, if you did not know, and I guess we're far enough into the video on YouTube that we can, again, it's Fuck Your Feelings, the show. We're not about to be cussing up a storm or nothing like that this evening, but there's a purpose to it. There's a story behind it. We ain't really gonna get into it right now, but yeah, thank you for the folks that have joined in and seeing. I see some of our usuals.
I'm just letting people know to go on YouTube to watch. Go on YouTube to watch. If you're totally if you're on Instagram, please go on YouTube to watch. Go on our YouTube page.
Production over
Fuck
there.
Your Feelings, the show. We will actually restart right now on Instagram. We'll keep going on YouTube. We'll restart on Instagram. I'll cut, because again, we've got to give some respect to our people that are on. So keep going for our YouTube people.
Whatever. It's an unstable platform. You're probably better off. Yeah. Anyways, sidebar conversation. You're probably better off though if you do want to put content on Instagram, recording or streaming somewhere else and pushing over to Insta, because it's just, this stuff happens all the time. We're going through that almost once a week as far as Instagram issues, and it don't want to act right and stuff like that. So while she's doing her reboot, let me not talk junk about Instagram, turn the topic of the show into that. But it is getting pretty useless as far as it's for marketing and promotion. And let's be honest, thirst trapping, like that is what 80% of Instagram is these days. It's either food porn or booty porn, like one or the other. And I just ain't. I'm whatever. But tonight's topic, I guess we can try to get on topic while we allow people a chance to join back in. And I told you it wasn't going to make no difference. Tonight we are talking about marriage. Marriage. What's the title of the show?
Why should I get married?
Why should I get married? From a man's perspective. And this is going to be interesting because I have some mixed feelings about it, and that's for men. That's somewhat for myself, but for men in general, just because of the way that things are structured currently. But with that being said, I think that the only way out of it is more successful marriage, not less. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if this thing keeps going down the hill it's going, it's going to be a world full of kids that don't know who their dad is. Mm-hmm. And that's probably not a great idea. And a bunch of kids that are related
who don't know they're related.
Don't even really know they're related because, again, it's not all that well, no, let me not say that. It's not that it's not uncommon, but it has become unusually more numerous the number of guys that have multiple baby mamas. You know what I mean? And we could say, oh, these guys are irresponsible and all of that, but so are these women too. Like, let's just keep it a buck. You know what I mean? Um, you can call Nick Cannon what you want to, and at least he's got some type of financial means to try to provide for these kids. But I never see smoke for the baby moms. And it's always like for them, it's, oh yeah, you can figure it out, you can make it work, go girl, do you. And with guys, it's just go kill yourself. And yeah, I don't know if I should have said that way, but
No, why
anyways,
are you going with
like
this?
anyway, but that's kind of the point of it. So again, getting back onto the topic of marriage, I think that the only way for a man to really assert control over his life is through that stability that comes with being in marriage, being in a
It's
union. You know what I mean? I don't think that, like, because here like the situation where you have these extended relationships like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. He's aware that there is a like marriage and proposal and all of this stuff.
she didn't require it.
She didn't require it, and he's not that
She didn't.
He's not that
No,
into it.
she didn't require it.
No, here's it is that definitely, but there's another half of it, because I tell you what, the average dude, if he is dealing with a female that he thinks is so dope and so amazing and everything he's looking for, whether she's requiring it or not, he's trying to lock that thing down. Like that's what men tend to do when they know what they want.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? When it's like, meh,
She's all right.
that's how you, and it don't matter how many kids you got, don't matter how long y'all been together. It's just, meh. You know, that's where like he always doing this, that, and the third, and the fifth. It's meh. Like, he should have made a decision and moved on, and if that wasn't what he was really convicted in doing, but that's not really in our nature. You know, man, it's fine with us, because we'll still go out and do whatever to fill in the spaces and fill in the gaps or whatever.
Well, let me show you some things. Recent headlines here.
Yes, I'm really hoping we don't have
And
mic
I'd love to
troubles.
hear your thoughts. So here are some recent headlines. Big police reaches divorce settlement with ex-wife Nicole, agrees to pay almost $40,000 a month.
Yeah.
Next headline. Relationship coach, there's a reason I messed up his name. Anyways, let me go back. Relationship coach Derek Jackson announced a divorce from wife. My family and I have gone through many changes. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West settled their divorce, with the rapper owing Kim Kardashian $200,000 a month in child support. DJ Mustard's ex-wife is requesting $80,000 per month in child support. Neo to pay ex-wife Crystal Renee nearly $2 million after finalizing divorce. And my favorite, Tinder says situationships are on the rise amongst young people, may consider it a relationship status.
Sorry, this is.
I'm not sure what Rob is doing.
I'm just making sure we don't have a mic drop on YouTube either. Sorry.
With all of these situations happening, and I'm just gonna let this run through them. There are a lot of men in the comments who are saying, "What is the point of marriage?"
Yeah, and I get
What
it.
is the point of marriage if the stats say 50% are going to lead to divorce, and then she's going to take my money, assume you got some, and she's going to take my kids, assuming you got some, and what do I get?
I mean, that is a legitimate argument. I don't think we can discount the legitimacy of that argument. But what I do think you get is, again, you get a different level, you get a different layer of stability, security. it's not so easy for her to just go run off and taking your money and stuff like that. It really ain't that that simple like that. And there's a certain amount of, believe it or not, protection that you get in marriage, because she can leave you, but she still has to divorce you. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a process. It's much easier to get married than it is to get divorced, and I think there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? We're so fickle today that irreconcilable differences means nothing. It's just we just don't get along anymore. You know, and I think, when we were talking the other day, how I said that most people in relationships, when they get into a bad spot in the relationship, the tendency is to take a step away from it.
Mhm.
And that's not what the generations before us did. They took a step towards it.
And when you said that, that was profound, and I repeated it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of hit me. It's that when, if you we've been saying it since day one, is you have to be committed to your commitments. Otherwise, it's not a commitment.
There are people who would say, I can be committed, we can be in cohabitation, we can have these little kids together, and we're just as committed as if we were legally married. And why would I go through the legal marriage if I have to go through the legal divorce?
I believe that about as much as I do my body, my choice. You can say, here's the thing. Yeah, you can do all of that, but you know what? You really honestly can't do is call her your partner, your husband, your wife, your spouse. Like, that has to have a certain a certain legitimacy to it. And I'm not talking about on paper government marriage. That is really more for like assets and legality and things like that. That's where I think it gets so confusing. But when you don't have an abundance of those things, our ancestors used to just go down by the river and Leroy would marry them, and they jump over the broom.
And then there were people who would say, okay, well, that's what I'm doing by cohabitation.
Nah, yeah, I've never. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see where y'all even went through that. Even went through any. I guarantee there was no ceremony. There was no exchange of words. There was no formality to that agreement. That was just. Yeah, to me, I think that's just y'all stuck. You don't want to move forward, and you don't want to be alone.
So do you feel as if that's it? Marriage is moving forward in your relationship.
Yes.
It's the next step. And if you're not doing that, you're basically saying to the person, I don't want to move forward with you.
Basically, in a nutshell. I know some of y'all are gonna have serious contention with that, but I'm telling you, like, that's, at least on the guy's side of things, that is how I tend to look at it. Like, there ain't no man with a woman that he thinks he can't do no better than not trying to lock it down. You know what I mean? And not even that he don't think he can do any better than, but just, when you've got that person that's the yin to your yang. You know what I mean? The up to your, the peanut butter to your jelly, however you want to look at it. Like, I, yeah, men tend not to be very meh when it's for sure. You know what I mean? We're very purposeful and intentional by nature. So when it's like, oh, I can't pin him down, I can't hem and haw, he doesn't want to end it because he's still getting benefits of the relationship.
But he doesn't want to tie himself to you legally.
But he does not want to, he doesn't want to box himself into that situation.
Because if he marries you and his forever comes along, he can't marry her.
You know what I mean? And
like, no disrespect. Is that kind of what that is?
It's kind of, and let's be real. That's why they say marry before you carry. When you pop the kids out, he's really not that motivated to marry you at that point. What else? What else is it to do? And I'm actually giving you more power in that instance by marrying you than you have just being my baby moms. And we already on the rocks with you just being my baby moms.
Ouch, I think you just hurt a lot of women's feelings.
Oh yeah, that you thought that was gonna bring y'all closer? No, sorry, that's not how we think about it. That's not how we really see it. No, it did not make y'all closer because marry before you carry, man. Like there's nothing else left for you to do for him. So when you done had his kid, like no, leave that there.
No.
So when you done had his kid, it's just kind of like, why would I marry you now? Then I'm giving you more. Again, I'm making you more powerful than I really want you to be in my life.
So the case isn't that there are a bunch of men who just don't want to get married, because that's what you would think.
No, I don't really think that. And again, even though there's as many men saying that, it's yeah, I just think it's bogus. Like, just like I think, like, it's funny that like all of the most like the original baddies is all married and submissive to their husbands. You look at all the early 2000s, all the baddies is married and submissive to their husbands, but they still got y'all out in the streets acting up.
All the independent women, put your hands up in the club.
And all of the dudes that was trying to be, Lil Wayne and I want to F every girl in the world.
Also married.
Now they got 11 baby mamas.
Oh, well.
And are not so thrilled about.
No, Ludacris
having
is married.
ties.
Ludacris had holes in every area code, and he's very, very married.
But I mean
Neil's been married and probably will be married again. Getting a divorce, but he'll be married again just now.
Like men.
Usher's been married, I think, 3 times.
We like putting our flag down. But he's not going to tell you like when you're almost marriageable. But we're good.
I'm going to go back to the beginning. Like I said, I think women set morality.
Like Puffy told her, like, you shorty wop.
What is shorty wop?
I don't know, but that's what he told Young Miami. Like, yo, you shorty wop. What you mean? And she,
so you're my shorty.
Shorty wop. Like, yeah. That's a title. You wanted a title?
Of what? A title
I don't know.
Of what?
He gave you one, though. I gave you
shorty
one.
Wop.
You shorty wop.
Oh, no. You would know. I don't. First of all, don't even know what it means, and it does not sound that important.
Puppet married, but
don't sound that important.
I don't see him getting on all fours.
Was he married?
I mean, getting on.
No, he's not married her. Was he married? He didn't marry any of them.
He did.
No, he got proposed to. He proposed to J-Lo, and I think him and Kim were, and he proposed to Cassie, but he didn't marry none of them.
Oh, so he just ran G.
But he's not hiding who he is.
I'm running game.
And again, let's go back to.
No need to, like.
Let me go back to my babe. Let me go back to my point. So women set the stage for morality. So women are dictating how we should be treated, right? Yeah. I think that's the case. We dictate morality for society. Again, when women say, that's why little boys and little girls, it's mom that's generally like, you don't do that. You say hello to people when you walk into their home. We set those stages. Yeah, so women are coming into the relationships and not requiring marriage. Nah. Do we need to require marriage when we come into the relationship? Is that a conversation that needs to be had that says, Robert, for us, as we go forward, please understand that marriage is part of something that I want out of this relationship.
That's got to be something that addressed early, and that's also like putting the genie in the bottle. It's like, if you want to move forward with this man or whatever, because again, I get the traditional, like, and traditionally you don't even live together until you're married.
Correct. We don't shack.
Yeah, we're shacking. I'm not. But I see it. I think it's a double-edged thing. It's like, what's easier to change, the living arrangements or a marriage? And but on the flip side of that, there's you've got to be committed to the commitment. So to answer your question, how are women going to start requiring anything in this environment?
So should we not be shacking? Like, we're shacking, right? But we're shacking for many reasons. Shacking because we were shacking because our relationship was
intentional and
two different.
Purposeful.
Yes, correct.
Again,
But would have been different a shacking if I was originally from this country, from this state, from this place.
I think
Because we were shacking because
that's
I'm not from here.
well, yeah, but I also think that that's different. That the conditions of the relationship, kind of how you go into it, are like. Let's spin it back. Like, oh, we were friends with benefits, and then y'all got serious. Like, I don't
Yeah, it's
think
weird to me. I've never
you
thought of
you
that.
can't. How you gonna all of a sudden decide unless it's a really y'all come to the same place at the same time? Somebody's further along in their feelings than the other person, and it's not a good thing.
Correct. I agree. Yeah,
You
that's a
shouldn't,
difficult
and
one.
you and guess who it usually is?
It's the woman.
Right.
Yeah.
You should not have started a casual relationship with a man
That you wanted something
that you could
serious
see
with.
something down the road.
Yeah.
And that's where getting back into it. Casual, I think it's a myth. It's been full because no woman lets a man enter her body that she doesn't want to keep her.
And you said that several times, and I would have to agree, especially on a regular basis.
Especially on a regular basis. So you can be like, he's woody, 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 woody. Then that's something up with you then. Okay, nothing to do with it, but it gave me an example of your boy,
Why that was my boy?
not his, no, what's his name? With the crazy hair, the Weekend.
Okay.
Right? Him and Future, the song Low Life.
Don't know it.
Okay, anyway.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, I've seen women singing along to that song. Like,
what are the lyrics of that song?
Low Life. Like, I don't know the lyrics like that. Anyways, but it's a song. It's a very man song.
Let me go look at a Future and the Weekend. Low Life.
I don't think that women should try to be filthier than men. It's not a good look. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay, so I'm gonna find the lyrics. I don't know nothing about these lyrics. These are gonna be to me. Call Low Life. High, getting high. Everybody getting high. Okay.
The hook is really the only point.
Wake up, take a sip of the Ace of Spades like it's water. Are you talking about that one?
I'm just, it's the hook.
Hold on. Yay, they stereotyping because they know a nigga keep 10 rifles. Oh no,
okay,
I can't.
Dead
I
with
cannot.
the lyrics. Like,
I'm sorry, it's too much for me.
Like, you just seem to not be able to go to the hook of the song.
It's because it doesn't say hook.
Anyhow, but the point of it being is that yes, a woman should, you would think on average and in general, that mom would be more loving and empathetic and passionate than dad because it's in her nature.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, we don't live in that era, and it's so odd that there are so many. Like, I've seen girls fighting with like a ferocity that it's just like, oh, that is not
ferocity. You always assume people understand what you're
ferocity.
Like, ferocity.
Yes,
I understand.
Viciousness.
Yes, there you go. How about you just
like really trying to do something to somebody, and it's like,
why are we talking about this? What does this have to do with getting?
Because again, back to the point of the morality is that y'all have lost a complete handle on that. Look at how y'all represent yourselves these days.
I'm actually going to go back to that Tinder thing because you're right. We're going to go back to that for those who came in late, because I thought this was a very interesting one to me because I was like, what in the holy heck? So again, let's repeat. Tinder says situationships are on the rise amongst young people. Many consider it a relationship status. We're in a situationship. It's a situation. There's no commitment. You're my sneaky link or mine.
That's all of those things are. It only benefits men. Like, I don't understand how a woman is really sitting there thinking you benefit from being some dude's sneaky link or he's your sneaky link. But again, you hear all that. Oh, I bagged him. I effed him. I did that. Like, he just played along.
Who benefits more from marriage, men or women? What say ye?
I think that it's honestly, I think it's a mutually beneficial institution, but we've just gotten so convoluted and you can do anything that you want to do these days. There's no shame. That's again, that shame helped moderate this stuff a lot. And without it, we're really out there, way out there. Like, oh boy, it's tricky out here.
Okay, so you're saying it's mutually beneficial. How do you benefit from us getting married, and how do you think I benefit from us getting married if it's mutually beneficial?
It's a firmer, I think really it comes to stability, protections, and security. If you're not in a certain status, then we've had certain discussions, then your claims are not the same. Like baby mamas don't get recognized in probate.
That probate, that's the will, everybody.
That's
When he
yeah, when he
dies,
dies, what his
what he
stuff
gets.
is that he
Yeah.
still has left.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
You don't get claims on
you
that.
don't get claims on that when you just baby mom or sneaky link or whatever. So from the woman's perspective, again, you have an actual claim to that man and his whatever, his provisions, his resources, his whatever. For the man, again, it's a much more difficult sell. But again, I think what you get is a more stable, disciplined home. You really do. Because if but that's you if you marry carefully, because again, I know many men, including myself, that have made the mistake of, if she's an unruly wife, she never should have been a wife. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
Once he's made you his wife, there really shouldn't be anything that you're still like that's the finish line. That's going across and the tape breaks.
Yay.
Now you're working on the marriage.
Correct.
You know what I mean? That's all that it's left to do is work on the marriage, and nothing left but work.
Correct.
But we've pitched it so much that, like, the big wedding, we're infatuated with weddings
And
not marriages. And I think that's part of the correction that needs to take place too. Is and that didn't just get there. Men definitely participated in that. Bridezilla didn't get there on her own. He allowed, like I said, we've allowed a lot of this stuff to go on, and y'all have taken that inch and made a whole mile out of it. Because there was a point in time where, yeah, suffrage was a real thing. It was a really needed thing. Like, women were impoverished and oppressed, and they, like, in general, women had very little choice over their avenues in life. You know what I mean? But it quickly went past that to just, we want to behave like men.
Okay, so getting back to the topic at hand. So you said for men, it's a harder sell.
It is.
Okay, so you're going into your second marriage with me. After experiencing a first marriage, which can be difficult, why would you consider a second marriage?
Because there is a stability to that union. You cannot move. It's a different level of commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And not only for you, but for her. She should be moving in a different space at that point. You know what I mean? Because again, there is no gap to fill in there. There is no void. You're my wife. You got the job.
Mm?
So what do you want your boss to do after he gave you the job? Do the work for you?
No. That's when you really get to work.
That's when you really get to work.
Yeah. You've done all the prep. You've
That's when
killed
you
all
get
the
to work.
interviews.
That's when
You've
got
got
to
the
figure it
contract.
out.
You
That's when you
signed the
got to learn it.
contract.
I don't care if you're an expert at it or an idiot. Once you get the job, you better figure out how to be adequate at it.
Hmm.
And I think that's something we all should be able to relate to.
I that's a good analogy to put it. So let me ask you this. Why are so many men turned off by the idea of marriage? I don't think that they're against it, but I think there are a lot of men, because when I put stuff in my stories, like the men were like, no,
You know what it is?
there is no reason for men to get
Here,
married.
and here's and this is there. And again, it's a tough sell for this reason. I heard some guy talking about. He was like he was in Japan and he met his wife. She was
Okay.
Japanese.
Mhm.
He brought her back home.
Okay.
He said the story went along the lines of like she was pregnant at the time.
When he brought her back to
No. She was. This is fast forward.
Okay.
They're back. They're living in the States, right?
Okay.
She's pregnant. His mom is visiting them.
Mm-hmm.
They in the living room, whatever. He's like, "Hey, can I get a glass of water?" She hopped up, ran in the kitchen to get him a glass of water. His mom's like, "Girl,
You're pregnant.
Boy, that girl pregnant. What you got her running around getting you water for?" Blah, blah, blah. He's like, "I ain't asked her to run. I just asked like if you could grab me a glass of water." You know what I'm saying? He said by the time his mom left, she was acting like a black girl. Eddie Murphy made the joke in Delirious back in the 80s. He said you can go to Africa and get a chick with a bone in her nose. But once she gets around these women, because that's what y'all allow, like the sisterhood is strong. The sisterhood is strong. He said, Fufu acting up. You know, I'm American woman now, Eddie. You treat me.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Delirious is a 30-year-old joke. 40-year-old joke at this point. But it was like, again, so that is why I think a lot of guys are really apprehensive of it, because even if you got you a good woman, you still can't change the fact that the way that things are set up now is y'all are fairly incentivized to break the contract.
Interesting. So that's why they're turned off.
Come on, man. Would you want to get into a business? Would you want to be in business with a partner who the first time you upset them,
they're
could
ready
just
to
kick
sever
you out
the
the
relationship?
business?
No, absolutely not. I don't want an emotional partner. Like, we're in it for the long haul.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And I think that's where most men are apprehensive, is that even if you do get a cool chick, like the possibility, and again, it is it's fear and apprehension and concern. It's like, but she can really cause havoc as your wife, whereas as your girlfriend, you can just get a restraining order. You know what I mean? Get a restraining order. 50 feet. Stay away from me.
You're ridiculous. But I can tell you, for me, because again, this is I'm also going into my second marriage with you, that I'm a better woman married. I am. And I always felt like I wasted that on my first husband. We should have not gotten married. But I feel like I'm a better woman in a marriage, not just in a cohabitation, because to me that's commitment, but not the level of commitment that I aspire for. I aspire to be someone's wife. I aspire for that level of commitment in my relationship. And if I'm going to give all of this to you, there needs to be an end result. There needs to be a promotion. I don't go into work without getting promotions. I get promoted from one thing to the next. And so becoming your wife is my promotion. I don't know what you're doing.
No, I was just, I realized it kicked me out of, so I just jumped back in on my phone so I can see it. No, and you know what else you got me thinking about with that is like, and just the changing of the times too. Like, being a husband, being a wife isn't viewed as a job, but we also live in a time where it's like record numbers of people don't even want a job. You feel what I'm saying? You feel I'm going with that?
My sister
you know what I'm saying? People don't even want a job. Like, I'm gonna just go on Instagram and I'm gonna be a streamer. I'm gonna be a SoundCloud rapper. I'm gonna be I'm gonna move to California and be an actor. Everybody wants to do wants to get money without working. But I think we're from an era where it was like you take pride in being good at what you do.
Yes. I do.
Like, whether I am a freaking Like I that's why I tried to make certain decisions so I didn't have to be in a position where I had a job that I couldn't want to be good at.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But and being a husband, being a wife, that's a job I want to be good at.
Correct.
I believe you feel the same way. If you don't have that mentality, then there isn't any benefit of it. But I don't understand what, like, who just wants to be hooking up for 50? Like, it was some comedian had a joke, like, 50 years later, you still just want to be busting cheeks? Like,
I would hope
there's
not.
got to be more that you want out of your life and to do with your life and move and progress your life than just raising your body count and hooking up with hot chicks or hooking up with hot dudes. Like, that is a very, like I said, but half the pool is less than a feet deep now.
I just wonder if people recognize that they may not make good partners, and so to do this lifelong for someone, like it exposes
you're hitting that.
it
No,
exposes
you're hitting
how
that,
bad of a partner they are, right? I
Yeah.
think relationships can expose the worst in us as
they
opposed
can.
to the best.
And if you're not a person that can handle that, then you're just gonna run from that. You're gonna duck off from that
Every time.
Every
Every time it
like,
keeps exposing the
again,
worst in you,
sometimes
you
have
start
to
over.
be exposed in order to bring correct. Like I said, God gives you what you need. He don't care about what you want. And usually you find that in the best relationships, both, especially like older relationships, they'll tell you, it's like, I got what I needed. I didn't get what I wanted. If I got what I wanted, a big booty, like it just be pure. And that's why, again, I think, especially in this day and era, guys got to be more careful because we are visual creatures. You know what I'm saying? Thirst traps are for men.
Correct.
And she never looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you done started. We develop feelings with our eyes.
Ooh.
It's not in our heart.
To quote.
And here's another thing, and again, a lot of times the chase is better than the catch. Like, here's the thing about men and why, again, a lot of this is jacked up. A man with feelings for a woman and he pursues her,
mm-hmm.
and she rejects him,
mm-hmm.
he's just going to disengage.
Okay.
Because that hurt.
All right. Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Because you genuinely felt something
I really
for her,
want you, and you curved me.
Got it.
I'm just gonna.
Correct.
But a man that just want to smash, a man that's just thirsty.
Yeah.
He just wants you with his eyeballs and his penis.
Oh.
He will chase you for years.
Oh, until he gets you.
Until he finally gets you.
And then he gives you the penis.
Mic drop. Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, there are men in my life I feel that way. That like they will chase me, and then once they get me, it ain't gonna be it.
As soon as you get in a relationship, people start coming out the woodworks and stuff like that. Like,
Facts.
on both sides.
Facts.
On both sides.
Facts.
People start popping in, want to check up. You get all kind of unusual friends, advice, and friends are like, do I know you? I don't know. Like, again, I can't look. I don't know.
But that's a good point for women, right? Like, a man will chase you for years and still not have good intentions for you.
It's like, yes, because he ain't got them guts yet.
Oh.
That's all he wants.
Oh.
He wants to say he hit you.
Oh. But a man who really wants you is gonna go after you with vigor, and once you reject him, he's done with you. He's like,
that hurt. I ain't gonna keep doing that to myself.
Because he was there for more, and you couldn't see that.
And you just treated him like he was just there for money.
So a lot of women have run off their potential husbands. It sounds like.
Yeah, a lot of women have curved. A lot of women have curved great husbands. He would have put you on that pedestal you want to be on.
While they're hanging out with their boyfriends.
Who is like looking at you like you like 3 notches below what, like old boy on the show yesterday, North Carolina dime. Like, you gotta be at 10. You think he's only sleeping with 10s?
No, he's sleeping with some 5s and 6s and a few 7s, 8.
Baby mama's probably like 7s, 6s.
But he'll wife the 10.
That's what he's looking for.
That's what he wants. And that he's not going to settle
I'm
until
not
he
gonna.
finds that woman
When
that
I
is.
find that Tango, a lot of his behaviors will change up to pursue it. You just crack the code.
Does a man move differently once he's found his wife? Did your movements change with me because you saw me as your wife?
Well, I think they naturally have to. You have like independent people suck in relationships. Like if you don't want to give another, like you got to have a job. You had to give me a job, like, and I needed a role to fulfill, and you needed a role to fulfill.
Correct.
If you get together with someone and they just like I'm good, and they're like I'm good, like that's roommates. That's what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things. You know, we had a little snafu where I was like, you clean the house just because if you stop cleaning the house would get clean still.
I'm still pissed about you saying that because
Well,
I
it
don't
wouldn't
know
get-
what it means.
because it wouldn't get cleaned at the rate that you expected.
Absolutely not. Nothing in this house would get done at the rate.
Not at the rate you expected.
Correct, because my
But it would
standards
still
are-
get done eventually.
Okay.
And
I
that's the
still
same
like
thing
that.
with you. If I wasn't doing, you still have a place to live.
I-
You still have a cell phone.
Mhm.
You'd have to do it yourself.
Correct.
Or
and
get someone else to do it.
I don't
for
want to
you.
do
And
that.
you don't want to do that.
I don't think.
Thank you.
it's
So
for
that's
me.
what I'm saying. It's like it's almost like delegation. It's like if there's nothing for them to pick up for you, there's nothing for them to do for you. What's the point of the relationship? They like I said, I don't want to be with nobody that don't need me. Everyone wants to look at need like that's something exclusive and like without you. Like again, nobody wants to.
No,
maybe it should be like that.
I get
though.
it now.
Maybe there should be some of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we both talk to each other. Like, yeah, the next person, I don't think they're gonna put that much effort into this or that or the third. And we both are like, you're probably right, especially these days. I don't know if the next person is gonna be just in their own self as committed to their commitments as you are. And I would say the same. You know I am committed to my commitments though.
Correct. And your commitment to me.
Unless
and to us moving forward.
And I'm talking about the heavy stuff, the life stuff. I ain't talking about, I said I wasn't gonna go out next weekend and then something came up and I went out.
No, you're
that's not a
committed to
commitment.
moving us
You know what I'm
forward
saying? I'm
and
right.
doing
I'm
what
committed
needs to
moving us
get
forward in
done
our
to
life.
correct. You've committed to that because you know that commitment is also important to me because we have plans together and you
Well,
have to play your part and I have to play my part.
Can't do it alone. Two's always better than one. That's that's humanity, man. Like I don't know why we all want to be special snowflakes and individuals and self-sufficient and self-sustaining and independent. It's the biggest lie ever told. It's the biggest bunch of bullshit. People tend to be happiest when they're of service to other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a man thing. That's not a woman thing. That's your grandma used to be just happy when that's why Sunday dinner was at grandma's. That would be her and her zen cooking for her kids and grandkids.
Yeah, Sundays were always a big thing in
people tend
culture.
to be happiest when they are being of service to other people. I heard a pastor say it once: if ain't nobody using you, you are useless. Mm-hmm. But we look at it, you're using me, you're using me. No, I'm not just talking about exploiting without it being mutually beneficial, or they're not invested in you and you invested in them. Who hurt you? Like who? It's not the whole world. Is almost like who hurt you.
I feel like that is what's happening. And again, I went through those slides of all of the commentary under those posts that I had with Babyface getting a divorce and Neil getting a divorce and Derek fake Guru Jackson getting a divorce and Kim and Connie, and it was just DJ Mustard's wife is asking, like all of this stuff. And I'm reading, and a lot of men are like, F this. Now, granted, most of them don't even have close to the type of money that these men got, so they ain't got none of the concerns these men have. Of these men,
right?
So like, hush your mouth. Like,
your Jordan collection.
Like, what are you?
She don't want them no way.
What are you talking about? But the reality is maybe they would be further in their life if they had a partner, a woman.
Situationships or just being casual. You have to do everything yourself.
But I'm bad all by myself. There's a whole movie about that.
Well, keep rocking. Keep
Why
rocking.
if I'm bad all by myself? I only have to
Why?
deal with Toshiba problems. I don't have to deal with Toshiba and Rob problems.
Who hurt you? Because every man would jump off a bridge for his first girlfriend, and every girl would do whatever her first boyfriend said. Who hurt you?
And then potentially you did get hurt along the way
Both
doing that
sides.
and giving yourself and
Being
so
selfless in relationships,
correct.
and you got hurt and you said, I'm not going to do that anymore. But as you get maturer enough, you just learn that that's the only way to be in relationships, because it doesn't go right when you're constantly guarding yourself and protecting yourself. I'm not saying be vulnerable like that's no, look, man, you still got to play your role. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, that's, you know, it's just that you have to play your role, but at the same time, you can't look. You can get killed walking your doggy.
Correct. So I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to be a two-part question. So for people who are marriage minded and have never been married, so the never been married part of our community, right? Who are marriage minded, who are looking to be married, what would be your advice to men and women? First of all, is it the same advice, or what's your advice to men and women looking to get into their first marriage?
Um, I would probably just say, please understand and be aware that the universe will deliver to you what you need, not what you want.
Elaborate.
If you are a very pragmatic, cautious, calculated, I have to think everything out person, the universe is going to send you a fly by their pants person to balance you out, because the universe strives for balance.
I would agree with that. Correct.
The universe is constantly trying
Correct.
to find itself in a state of equilibrium. So are people.
Correct.
And you think that the person that's like that enjoys it being like that?
Yeah, I don't enjoy being that
I
person.
know, like you again, you're right. Again, you don't enjoy being that.
You don't.
And again, and I don't enjoy, I'm not saying being totally fly by the pants, but again, I enjoy your
Bring us back on course a little bit.
routine. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Again, like it has to be both ways. Hot and cold. I don't want to be hot. I want to experience cold. When you're hot, you want to experience cold. When you're cold, you want to experience some heat. Balance. And that's how it works. So you have to keep your mind open to that. You have to keep your ears, heart, soul, all of that open to the fact that, and guess what? That is, it's like you can't take two positive magnets and push them together. They repel.
Correct.
You take two pluses and they will not touch. When you take a plus and a minus, ploop. Nature tells us a lot. We just don't. We don't pay attention. We don't pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying?
How long?
We've been saying opposites attract forever, and we've gotten too
carried away. But I think people think too differently about what opposite means, right? The way you just described it makes sense about the universe striving for balance. I could not be with another A-type personality.
No, you'd be stressed out.
Yeah, we'd both be like, yeah.
Both be gotta,
go.
You gotta sit your ass down somewhere. Relax.
So I get this striving for balance because I think we do a really good job of that with each other, right? I push you when you need that push, and you stop me when I need to be stopped, right? Because I think there's a healthy push and pull that does happen in a relationship for the equilibrium. So I love the fact that you say that. So let me ask you, actually, just a follow-up to that question before asking my other question is, how long do you realistically think it takes for a man to know that he's found his wife?
I don't know, man. Nowadays, it's...
Under the conditions you just described, the equilibrium,
Yeah, and I
all
think
of that.
honestly, for a man, it's a risk. You find her in that state, we know fairly relatively quickly because on average, we're not like y'all. It's not about warm and fuzzy, and it's like does she check the boxes with men usually? You know what I mean? It's almost like a literal job
A
application.
list,
Do you
yeah.
got the qualifications? Is she pretty? Is she this? Is she that? Is she the third? Once he's recognized that you're all of those things, he's like, check. For men, the pause comes with, will she stay like that? Because we don't really get to do that. We don't get to be high powered doctors, get married to you, and then say, you know what, I quit. I just want to be a botanist. I just want to own a flower shop, or I want to be a chocolatier.
Absolutely not.
Men don't get to do that.
No, you don't.
But women get to be awesome, get married, and turn into bitches.
Oh.
Sorry, but I'm sure I got a few amens. I'm sure I got a few amens out there in the audience. I think a lot of fellas know exactly what I'm talking about. We don't get to change up like that in a relationship. If we change up, it's a sign that the relationship's about to be over. But women think they can just change up because that's just how they feel, and you're supposed to still be the same man you've always been to her, but she ain't got to be the woman that she was to you no more.
Well, you know what was interesting? I was watching Ages and Stages podcast. I caught it yesterday with Simone and Rashid, and they had shout outs, and they had Pastor Gray and his wife on. And it was funny because Pastor Gray, I don't remember his exact quote, but he made a comment to Simone with respect, because he's known Rashid through his first marriage. So this is Rashid's second marriage and Simone's first marriage. And he made a comment to Simone with respect to, she's not just marrying Rashid, she's marrying all the Rashids to come, which means all of the men he will grow into, because he's watched him grow in his first marriage to now the Rashid she has. And of course he will grow. So she's got to understand when she says I do, she's saying I do to all of the Rashids to come, as he's saying I do to all of the Simones to come. And can you love your partner through their evolutions? And he also said to the point of, and are you evolving with them? Because if you're evolving and I'm insistent on staying still, there could potentially be a problem. Yeah. So I loved that, and I was glad that I caught the live basically right at that point, because it was just a fundamental moment that people forget that over 30 years we've grown over the last 2.5.
Rapidly.
Rapidly.
That should be kind of how again, there's been some life-changing events included, like that's how life should be moving, man. Like life shouldn't be a slow drip. It should be a running faucet, like you should be moving through your things. I'm not saying, and I'm not talking just purely financial, but again, growth, development. Again, taking it back to church again, is healthy trees bear fruit.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's important to come into a relationship healed without the baggage. I think I will give us both that. We exposed ourselves, but we didn't come in with baggage.
Yeah, I don't want to. Definitely no baggage. I don't want to say that we were 100%, or who is 100%?
No one's on. That's unrealistic.
Is who hurt you.
Thank you.
Right?
I think we were both. I felt 85,
90%. Both were clearly in a position where it's like, because again, you tried. Are you sure? I'm like, man, look here.
Well, give people context. Rob had, in my mind, recently come out of something. Yeah. In my mind, in his mind, he was done and over with it. But that's why I'm a woman, right?
I'm done
yeah, when tomorrow, Rob is done, is done, right?
I could get a new thing tomorrow.
And
it's over.
And so, but for me, it was like, are you sure? Because I don't want to take this step forward with you,
I get it.
knowing what I want. If you're still looking back, I'm not going to do that, because I know what my forward Is pass me your phone. Kadar is saying something. Hi, Kadar. I can't.
What's
I'm
up?
looking for
What's
Robert's
up,
phone. So
Kadar?
Kadar says hello. Y'all always dropping knowledge. Thank you, Kadar.
Appreciate it,
We're
man.
here, right? So I was very clear with you. I didn't want to move forward with you because I knew that my forward meant marriage and cohabitation and building and growing. And who wants to invest time into building and growing with someone who's potentially, like you said, always looking backward? So that was my pause before we said, let's do this thing.
Yeah, for sure. Or like I like to say, you can't make plans with someone who's always changing the plan.
Correct.
If you can't make plans with someone who doesn't stick to plans.
But what I've also appreciated about our relationship, and you in particular, and I will give you your props, you had a plan and I came in and I made slight changes and you never pushed back on it, right? Because remember when we met, your plan was not what this plan is right now.
Well, any plan that can't be changed is not a good plan.
You saw the benefits of this new plan.
Like this was a different model. She gave me a shift, and I was like, okay, I can work in this, and it allowed for us to kind of continue to move along those places till we both found ourselves where we were in roles that we were comfortable and happy with. You know what I mean? And I think that you have to remind yourself of that sometimes, because whether you're the male or the female, whether you're the breadwinner or the stay-at-home, the grass is always greener on the other side. Like that's in human nature. Like you're going to that's like a person that says, I've never been depressed. I'm like, I can tell you for certain you're a liar.
Correct.
Or you're delusional.
Yeah,
or you're not self-aware.
You felt a lot of sadness.
Because depression is a universal experience.
Correct. So, okay, so now let me ask you, as we move forward, for people like ourselves who are going into second marriages, so they have had their first marriage, it didn't work, right? Because clearly a divorce means the marriage didn't work. Whether it was amicable or not, it didn't work. And now you're in a space where you're dealing with all of the hurt or the baggage or everything from your past marriage, and now going into a second marriage. What is your advice to those couples, and particularly the men? Because men are not ending the marriages, right?
Yeah, no. What I would say for men is, and this, I want to figure out how I really want to word it to make sure it hits how I want it to hit. It's like, the only thing you can control is you. And what I mean by that is that the no disrespect rule. I would say men in general adopt that rule moving forward, whether it's just smashing on a chick or for your future wife. No disrespect, because
let them know that is the foundation of our relationship, right? Again, the foundation of our relationship is no disrespect.
And a woman, because once a woman starts to go down that path with you, she's not coming back up it. It's a one-way road.
Yeah. Well, Kadar's got some great questions, and I want to get to this because we've got 25 minutes left of the show. So Kadar says, how do you explain your needs without mansplaining? So I'm going to answer first.
I want to see if you can do a good job at answering this, because
I'm
a little skeptical. So go ahead.
You're skeptical that I can answer it?
Women love to think they can answer that, but I'll pick that up.
Excuse me?
Women love to think that they can answer that. But sure, go ahead.
You have no faith.
No, I mean, but I don't have faith.
You have a little faith.
Yes, you do pick up on quite a few things.
But here's the thing: women are the ones who say that you're mansplaining, right? Like it's a woman term. Like mansplaining is you're mansplaining. And I think that's the interesting part. That's why I said let me tackle it first, and let's see how I do. So first of all, I'm not a big believer in mansplaining, right? I think at the end of the day, a man is communicating as effectively as he knows how. Let's start with that, right? You're communicating to me and answering my questions to me the best way you know how to do so. And so I don't actually, the term mansplaining has always bothered me because I'm like, how else is a man supposed to explain? Now, being condescending and patronizing is very different.
Very different.
Are you explaining with condescension and patronizing? Now, if you're talking to me as if I'm a complete idiot and have like I don't know anything. Now I'm gonna get upset by that. But if you're explaining to me in the best way you know how to explain the situation, then I'm perfectly fine with that. What was also funny is I think we also have to have a thing. And again, my Rashid and Simone, Rashid talks about this from Ages and Stages. He talks about the fact that he found out one of the best ways to communicate with Simone is when she asked him a question, said, "Do you want the truth or do you want the lie?
Right.
You want me to tell you the truth? Or you want me to lie to you? Like, which one's going to make you feel better in the situation?" And then you can determine how I decide choose to answer this question because I can answer it either way. Because one's going to make you feel great and one's not going to make you feel so great. Which one do you want? So I would think that that's something to consider. So that would be my say. I don't believe in mansplaining, but I think condescension and being patronizing is one thing, but you can only explain the way you know how to explain.
Well, here's the thing, and that's fairly onto it. Fairly, you're in the ballpark.
Thanks, babe.
Mansplaining is when your dumb ass ain't understand it the first time, or the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the fifth.
Hi, Simone. I just mentioned your name.
Well, she did. Yeah, she's in love with you. Anyway.
Simone is my best friend in my head. Hi, Simone.
Mansplaining comes up is when I am trying to express something to you that you seem to be unwilling or unable to accept.
Correct.
Like me trying to describe my sexual urges to you.
Correct.
It's difficult for you to understand them or go along with them because they're foreign to you.
Correct. I don't understand.
Some words just don't translate from this language to this one.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
We
French
do speak very differently.
French and German. There's some words that just get lost in translation. All you can do is try to make an approximation.
Correct.
We're not going to get into it, but we kind of had a situation similar the other night where that was me mansplaining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was also me putting you in my shoes the best that I can.
Correct.
Because y'all have a hard time walking in our shoes.
I won't disagree. And that's why, honestly, if Simone is still on, that's why I actually really liked when Rashid said that. I thought that is brilliant. Do you want me to lie to you or do you want me to tell you the truth? Because the problem is we say we want our men to tell us the truth, but we can't handle the truth in the way that they want to give. We want our men to give us the truth in a way our girlfriends do.
And
that doesn't work.
It's capped. You just it's a preference. You know what I'm saying? Almost. You got the
Sorlin Sage, our sponsor is on, and she said this is the definition of mansplaining: the explanation of something by a man, typically to a woman, in a manner regarding as condescending or patronizing, which is exactly what I just said. Mm-hmm. If you're being condescending or patronizing, I'm not about
that's like being misogynist.
Yeah, well,
that term is so overused right now.
It's really sexist and not misogyny.
Right. Most guys are caught to being sexist.
Yeah, misogynistic. Most men are not. Most men do not hate women. So Kadar is also saying he had to stop his marriage because she won't sign the prenuptial agreement.
Such a bad situation to be in, brother. I feel for you.
And I'd be curious because I know I would sign a prenup.
We have a show called Fuck Your Feelings. Okay. The number one reason she's having difficulty with that, bro, is she just cannot step outside of her feelings about the whole situation. She still can't believe you had the flipping audacity to ask her no shit like that.
Because here's the thing. A lot of women feel as if you asking them for a prenup means that you're planning for the failure of the marriage. Right. But I've always said you don't go to therapy once your marriage is in trouble. You go to therapy when you're doing well so that you have the tools should your marriage be in trouble. Right. So should your marriage get into trouble, you now know we don't argue. We're not going to fight. This is how we're dividing the asset. You get this. You try to simplify things. I would think of it that way because you wouldn't give me a prenup to sign without some protection for myself. Like I'm not signing something that doesn't protect Toshiba. That makes no sense. After 5 years, I get this. After 10 years, I get that. And then after this, exactly.
It's an open-ended contract. She can't get outside of her feelings to really sit down and have the conversation. And just knowing what I know about you, brother, if she was not in her feelings, she would understand that that is something that you need. That ain't something you just asking for.
But here's the thing,
That ain't just something you just trying to be fancy about. Like, for this man to be the best man that he can be in a marriage, he needs
some
certain
security.
security.
He needs some security.
He needs a certain amount of security to
I
it.
agree.
That's what I was just expressing. Like, it's a tough sell for men.
Yeah.
We need to know, like, okay. And so I could see the prenup becoming extremely prevalent moving forward because men, like I said, I don't think men are against marriage, but we want there to be some rules of engagement.
Well, especially when it's your second marriage. I think you might go into your first marriage in the frame of mind like this is going to last forever, and then it didn't. And so you go into the second marriage with, it's again, when you start your first business and then you lose your first business, when you go into your second business, you put certain benchmarks and you put certain perimeters and you put certain things to ensure it doesn't happen again. And a prenup, especially going into a second marriage, I don't see
great
the problem.
Analogy. And y'all can complain about this, comparison if you want to. Men in relationships are boxers, are UFC, are sparring. There's rules of engagement. There's no hitting below the belt.
Correct.
There's no biting.
Correct.
There's no spitting. There's no throwing dirt in the other man's eyes. Women are street fighters. There's no rules. I can pull out a weapon. I can hit you with a trash can. I could run you over with a car. There's no rules. I'm just trying to win.
Correct.
The prenup is the man trying to keep it in the avenue of rules of engagement. Like, it's because that's most men's experience in failed relationships, is this woman just started doing whatever the hell she wanted to do. And that can't be.
Kadar just made a good point because it's actually something that we say also. Kadar says, I'm 50. I can't afford to start over. Hold on. Pause. Let me just read how much he's offering. He said, I offered $250,000 if the marriage fails in less than 5 years. Agreement sunset at 15 years. So she could end the marriage in year number 1 and still gets $250,000.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you. There's programs around the country.
Sign me up.
Thank you. That'll help you buy a house, right? They'll give you down payment assistance. You think they're gonna give you down payment assistance so you can flip the house?
No. So you keep the house.
You have provisions
Correct.
in it that they have clawbacks if your ass just go, oh, the house appraised for $150,000 more than you bought it for. You think you're just gonna sell it and cash out? Correct. And you got that $60,000 in down payment assistance? You just gonna ball till you fall? No, they are gonna come a knocking.
Yes, finance.
We gave you that money so you could have somewhere to live.
Yeah.
Not so that you could make money.
Correct.
We got other loans and stuff for that we charge people for.
Correct.
Because trust me, the guy that wants to build the $2.5 million house, we're not doing it for free.
Correct.
He's paying a nice fee to get that loan booked and processed.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? There's just there's certain things about it. So yeah, 15 years is, look, there's people that won't give you money for a down payment without you guaranteeing you're gonna live in a house for 15 years. So what's wrong with this man expecting if we get married, we're gonna be married at least 15 years? I don't, if 13 of them, your ass is unhappy, that's because of you.
Well, he said something that we say all the time. We're not trying to start over.
Yeah, and the starting again, we're
not
man,
trying to start. We're
trying to keep doing
we're not
that.
doing this.
Man.
Again, I'm 43. He's 46.
Share. You think
we're not doing this. It's funny. I was talking.
If Sharon wasn't rich, she would not be acting like that.
Listen, I was talking to Treyanne, so my 21-year-old. I was having a conversation with her, and it was a funny conversation. I was like, I'm not trying to be out in these streets, and she was like, Mom, these streets are stank. Like, no, you're not going back out into these streets. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's not even up for discussion, right? Like, and this is a 21-year-old, right?
Realize and you step in it, and you're like, oh snap, it's tricky out here, man.
Right? And so my 21-year-old is like, no, mommy, there is no, like, Rob is it. There's no more. Yeah. Like, this is the end of the road for you. We're not trying to do this again.
You need to get a tune back in, Kadar, so we can kind of help walk y'all through this, because that's not a deal breaker, man.
A prenup,
other than the fact that, like, I mean, you could have handled it like Steven Jackson did, where he let her push it off until the wedding day,
and then walked out.
She would sign it, and
he said, "I'm done." We're
You're
good.
gonna look a fool today.
We're good. And all her family and everybody.
Again, but that situation, I think that was clearly that she had other
Pause
motivations.
for a second. Pause. I would be curious to know if she were receiving her ideal promotion at work. She had worked really well. She had done everything she was supposed to do. This promotion came
I already know where you're going.
and she got the promotion.
Non-compete.
And now they make her sign a contract.
Non-compete.
And within it, it's a $250,000 salary.
But
it's understanding shit's gonna work because we'll claw back some of this salary.
Us back,
whatever it is. And then there's a non-compete involved, so you can't go out and go work for anybody else again with all of the things. I almost guarantee you she would sign that contract.
Yeah.
So why is it?
Especially if she was facing, and if you don't take the promotion, you lose your job. Because that's
the only position. This is the only position we have left for you.
Like again, you can't. If you don't accept the marriage proposal, I don't know how you go back to being boyfriend and girlfriend.
It's difficult.
You know what I'm saying?
It's difficult.
And I'm pretty sure for the type of guy he is, he understands exactly what I mean.
No, that's a difficult place.
That's what I'm saying about how men pursue. When we get hurt, we don't keep banging our head against the wall that's hurting us, but for an extended period of time. And once that period is hit, it's like it's over. Because why would I want to keep going through this over and over and over again? So yeah, you should ask her that. If your boss was going to promote you, but he said you had to sign a 5-year non-compete, would you take the promotion?
She would.
She would.
Well, you know what's so funny when you say about that, when men kind of commit, I think you also commit and you see your life a certain way, right? You see your life set a certain way. And one of the things that we've come to better understand about each other is I have this thing. Rob always says that I threaten to leave, and that's not what I do. I don't threaten to leave, Robert. Here is what happens. Here is where the miscommunication between us happened. And our sponsor, our everything Sorlin Sage, Joanne, she was able to buffer and understand between us. So here is my thing. Here is what happened. Here is what happened with us. When I say I'm leaving, I expect the relationship to continue with me in a different country. If everyone doesn't know, I was born in Jamaica, but I grew up in Toronto. I'm a Canadian citizen. Rob is American, right? And so I am technically I'm in Canada. I still work in Canada. My life is in Canada. I'm physically here with him. He hears I'm leaving. He's like, that's not the relationship I want. I don't want a relationship where we're in different countries and we're traveling back and forth. Fuck that. We're either in the same place together and big. Okay,
it's kind of like moving backwards. One, it's kind of like, not accepting the proposal, thinking we just gonna go back to being boyfriend and girlfriend. It's kind of all in the same vein for me. It's like that's how you express it. That's what you say, and I just kind of like
fuck that.
That's cap.
Fuck all that.
That's cap. I'm not even trying to hear that shit. Like that doesn't even make no sense.
And it now makes sense because you think it's going backwards. I get it now.
Here's the thing about it, and again, we like to move forward in things, and we don't like to have the same arguments over and over and over again.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like, because we tend to be pretty consistent in our feelings about things. If he didn't like it when y'all met, chances are he probably won't like it when y'all die, except for foods. That's where we get adventurous. That's about it. You know what I mean? But we are willing to accept that the relationship is really only in jeopardy when you're unhappy. Like, not a lot of stuff revolves around
your happiness,
me not being happy.
that is correct.
Saying?
That is accurate.
Like, you're never sitting up in here tapping your feet like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have did that. I know he didn't like that. Like, y'all do not press yourselves about upsetting us. Y'all don't press yourselves about pissing us off. Y'all expect to just get right back on the good side. But we don't get to move with that same energy. You know what I'm saying? And what y'all don't realize is, for us, neither do you. Like, when you piss me off, it's a quick up, well, not even a quick up, but it takes a while for me to get over it. Like there's time, like it's because you just don't want to have the same stuff rearing its head over and over and over again. So yeah, trying to ask him to move backwards in the relationship is kind of like asking him to move, or it's kind of like him asking you to move into a smaller, dirtier house.
I get it. So, and that's Kadar saying the same thing. Kadar says he feels like he is going backwards. And again, Kadar is actually requesting to come live. So we've got a couple of minutes and let's see what Kadar has to say. I know sometimes he's at work at this time.
Yeah.
So Kadar, if you're still there, we have accepted you. Let's see if this is going to work. Did I said accept? Come on.
Hey, good.
Hi.
What's going on?
How are you?
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
First off, I love you guys. You guys like
Thank
in my
you.
house and we have this. We discuss all y'all videos all the time. Y'all need to be on TV.
Thanks, dude. Coming to a TV near you.
But so I brought up the idea about the prenuptial agreement, and then I agreed to say, well, after 15 years, it'll just go away, right? We're not going to have any more children. Me and Maria, we're not going to have any more children, and we just like, okay, we agree on that. But I was like, well, I don't want to, take a big chance on losing a lot of stuff because in my state, it's not conducive to the man on, if you get a divorce.
No.
So I was like, well, I'll give you a significant percentage of my net worth if we can just agree. If I mess up or you mess up or it ain't cool and we get a divorce, you get this, and then that ends everything, but to try to be secure. But we've been arguing, and I feel like we lost something because I brought up, she's like, oh, you listen to these people on the internet, and now
yeah,
a big situation, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, well, I just can't take a chance on that. I just feel like I can't take a chance. I got 2 young children, and I want to make sure that my children are protected. That's my main concern. And so that's why we're struggling. So we used to live together, kind of. Now we don't live together. I bought another house. I couldn't get out the contract for the other house. So now I moved into the other house that we were supposed to move into together. But I mean, I'm not mad about that. I love my other place.
Yeah.
But it's like a situation now. It's like a situation.
Yeah,
So,
I feel you. Let me ask you this, bro. What do you get if the relationship doesn't work out?
I get nothing.
Thank you.
Nothing.
Thank you. Thank you. I knew that was the answer. What she got to give you if it doesn't work out? Nothing. So I think that says your level of commitment that you're going into it with good intentions and and the right things. It's just, again, brother, you've been through some things, trying to get some clarity. And again, I think that's just a way of moving forward. Look, multi-million-dollar companies don't acquire each other on handshakes. It's a damn contract packet this thick.
Exactly. I had to start a non-compete at my job.
There you go.
So it's like, I was,
Well, so let me ask you from
the engagement ring.
We've
been having issues.
Kadar, from the woman's perspective, why is she hesitant to sign the prenup? What are her reasonings?
Planning for us to fail.
Exactly.
Having a prenup and saying I'm thinking everything's gonna go bad, and I'm blaming her for the mistakes of my past marriage. And I'm not blaming. I lost a lot in that last marriage. So, and it took me like 5 years to bounce back. And so I don't want to go through that. I'm 50 years old.
So
I'm thinking about
next question. Have you asked her how would she suggest you protect yourself in the event of failure? What is her proposal? If this marriage doesn't work, how do you ensure that both of you are protected?
I have not asked that, and I'm going to ask that tonight in about 30 minutes.
So Yeah.
I would be curious to know what her
give
thoughts
an
are.
alternate solution. Like,
Right? Because
give
you
me
presented,
something.
hold on, babe, you presented your side and she doesn't like it. So what is her alternative? Because it is the protection of both parties. She is protected in your prenup. She's protected. You are not as protected because you are the one who has to put up the money. So what is the alternative to that? So if she doesn't like that, what would she like? What would work? Because again, it's security for both of you so you can move forward.
For both of you, let's be real. She's already protected. It's called the family court system. We already know how they get down. You definitely ain't got no recourse trying to address your grievances once it gets to that stage. So the only thing you can do is be proactive. Ask her, would she say to the person that says an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure? Is that stupid? Is that dumb? Is that planning on getting cancer?
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, is taking your multivitamin planning on getting sick?
And the reason I asked you to ask her that question, it is very much a F your feelings stance, right?
Yeah.
The whole
And that's
concept
what
for
it's all
those of you
feelings.
that are F your feelings is my feelings don't get to invalidate Rob's, and Rob's feelings don't get to invalidate me, especially when it comes to the most important aspects of our relationship. And that is important to you. And if it's important to you, it should in turn be important to her, and she needs to hear out why it is it's important to you, and then come to you with a potential alternative. That, but if she's suggesting nothing and just saying no, that's where I have the problem, because I don't get to just do that with Rob. He doesn't get to suggest something, I say no, but I don't come back with an alternative. That's how negotiations work, right? Life is a negotiation. This is a job. This is a promotion for her. She's being promoted from your girlfriend. She was promoted to your fiance, and then she gets promoted from your fiance to your wife. Every time you sign a new contract with your job, you don't sign a new contract with the same stipulations. It's not the same salary and the same vacation and the same 401k. Every time you sign a new contract at your job, it's because you're getting something more in return.
And more is being expected.
And more is being expected of you in return. That's where you're at right now. She's getting a promotion, and this is where these are the terms. I mean, but I also, again, we're in a fuck your feelings relationship. So I just took all of the feelings out of it and got down to the logic of it all.
Oh, yeah, no.
Well, that's what I'm going to propose tonight, because we had, since this whole prenuptial agreement, we've been talking about this for about 3 months. And so now we delayed the marriage, and I was like, well, my lawyer said the same thing, that I got to protect myself. And I was like, well, you can have a lawyer review this or whatever you want to do. And so basically now I live in a new house all by myself. Well, me and my 2 children, but I live in the house by myself now. And so we just kind of, I feel like we lost something, but
yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel 2 ways about it. I love Maria very much with all my heart, but I just can't take that chance no more. I just can't take that chance on losing a lot. I live in Seattle where they will do you in court. And so you gotta protect yourself. And I'm not rich. I'm not a rich man. I'm a regular guy, right? I'm a regular guy. And I mean, I just can't take that chance, and I'm like, her friends is really wealthy and they don't have prenuptial agreements, but for them, losing a house is nothing. For me, losing a house is significant. You know what I mean? So I can't really. So it's like we get these comparisons. You're like, well, my girlfriend, they ain't worth 10 million, and they didn't do this, and I'm like, well, I'm not. That's why it's more important for me to do it, because I'm not worth that much. So I can't,
exactly
do that. I mean,
and I would even say,
I put it all on the table, and then so now we had a disagreement so much to the point that, like I said, she moved out and said, well, I mean, we still see each other, but something ain't the same. Just something ain't the same. It's just kind of weird now.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that you're going through that, brother, for sure, man. I'm sure that's not easy to deal with. But and one last question I would ask you to ask her is, if her, I don't know her background, her family situation or whatever, but say even if it's somehow she was set to inherit substantial assets. Would she still feel that way about the prenup?
If she had something to lose.
If she had a family, if her dad owned 35 McDonald's and she knew they were set to pass to her if something happened to him, would she want you just to be able, if the relationship didn't work, then all of a sudden you get to get 17 and a half McDonald's?
That's a good point, because her family, they do really well. They do really well. I don't know exactly what they worth, but they do really.
There
really
you
well.
go. So that's again, and here's the thing that really, I think that you have to take the feelings out of the conversation with the prenup, is that is just stipulating what was going on. That just handles the past. From the moment you say I do, everything that you earn is half of hers.
I tried to explain that. My lawyer tried to explain it, but she was like, "Well, that's your lawyer trying to protect you." And I was
So
like,
she needs to get a lawyer.
Yeah, she needs. Yeah.
It's been a big old argument that's been running.
Yeah, she's heavy in her feelings.
She's very much in her feelings.
And I say that, to kind of, absolve her somewhat, is that she's triggered by that somehow, and it's causing her to question your intentions and your feelings. But on the flip side of that is it's a slippery slope, because if you were not in the right headspace, you could be doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And it really is something that could just be kind of corrected, is like, what else do you need in there for you to feel like it doesn't have an impact on how we're moving forward? Because again, it's only addressing the past.
Exactly.
But are you gonna, like, and let's be real, the past has to be addressed. You know what I mean? Y'all had to talk about, how things had went previously and all of that, things you went through, things you ain't gonna go through. You've addressed this in various different aspects. Why is this particular instance an issue so much when it's moving forward it's a complete partnership?
Because in her mind, if he loved her, he would not be preparing for this part of not a life together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I knew exactly what she was saying. And here is,
if you love me, you wouldn't be preparing to break up with me.
and here's the thing: she needs to get out of the fairy tale that we've been sold as women. Marriage is not about love. Marriage is a practical union of two people coming together who can actually better each other's life. If we take the love out of it, arranged marriages, there were no love in the beginning, but honestly, they have a better success rate than traditional marriages where we choose our partners. Because again, they brought together because the families felt these are two people who can make this work. You found a woman that you think I can make the rest of my life work with. We can grow together. We can build together. That's what we've done. And yes, we love each other. But I always say to people, it's maybe number 5 on the list of reasons why we're getting married. It's because we've seen what we can do together just being in a cohabitation situation. Now when we're legally married and the laws are on our side for the things that we can do together, know where we're going to go. It only makes sense to be married. So F all the feelings part, that's where she needs to get out of her feelings and realize it is a protection. And her lawyer, when she gets one, which you should suggest that she gets a lawyer, because her lawyer would tell her the same thing. If she does have family wealth that she could potentially come into if her family passes away, she's got to protect herself so that you don't get any part of that, because you get divorced. That's up for grabs. Her family wealth, if there is no prenup, everything is up for grabs.
I agree 100%. So, like I said, this is going to be the argument or the discussion. I'm going to try not to.
Yeah, you're going to have a discussion, and just simply say to her, "What do you propose? You don't like my proposal. I would love to hear your proposal so that we can move forward." Because again, like Rob said, sometimes when we're in a disagreement, and this is what's happened, you take steps back. You're trying to take a step forward. And so when you communicate with her saying, I'm trying to move us forward, what can we do from your end to move us forward?
I agree with that. Yeah.
You know, I love you guys so much. Please send me your contact again. You should give me. So thank you.
Yeah, man, for
Thank
sure,
you.
man. Love
We'll
you,
talk
Kadar,
to you
man. Enjoy
soon.
your conversation.
And I'll get on this report. Thank you so much. I'm gonna keep on listening to you guys. I love y'all. Thank you for all the good
No
advice.
doubt.
Got you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So everyone, we appreciate
Yeah,
the
we're
time
wrapping
we
up.
have spent together. We
Went over a
are
little
wrapping
bit.
up.
Oh my God.
We thank Kadar for coming on and being a part of this show because all of this feedback is so important. We love everything. We love what we do here. We love giving this advice. And again, what we say may not be applicable to everybody, but it's what's gotten us to where we are. Two strangers from across borders with different cultures who went from strangers to cohabitation in 96 days. So we must be doing something because here we are 2.5 years later, getting ready for the next stage of our life together. We ain't gonna do no questions because we had Kadar on. Do you want to wrap up with anything?
No, I was gonna wrap up with a little shade, but
Okay, go ahead with the shade.
Nah,
No shady shade.
I was just when you were like, moving forward, I was just gonna say, or until the next time you decide that this is not what you're looking for. Oh, I did it. In closing, because I remember you said something. Yes, I can do this publicly and on air. You said something to me previously, and I can't remember when. It was a couple of days ago, but you was like something along the lines of, sometimes, or it may come to, I have to do what's best for me, not what's best for us.
That's not what I said. I said because of a situation we're currently in, I'm being advised to do what's best for me and not what's best for us.
Okay,
and I'm
okay,
erring on the
let me-
side of doing what's best for us.
Okay, now let me finish. Because the question I wanted to propose to you is, how is doing what's best for us not what's best for you?
I agree with you. That's why I said I'm not going with that advice.
You ready to go bang out 40, 50 hours a week somewhere?
No! That's what I said. I don't want to be working for the man anymore.
Oh, okay. That's what I was like. Is it what's best for us? Is
Best
it that
for me.
what's best for you? Look, maybe I'm crazy. I
I
don't know.
pay for groceries. I'm not
Every
going
2
back.
weeks.
Every 2 weeks. I pay for groceries. I don't want to go
That's
back.
why she's always talking about, you want, oh, I'll treat. Can we go to, hell no. I'll treat. That's why you can always do that. Because
I don't want
you
to
buy
go back.
groceries every 2 weeks.
I pay for groceries every 2 weeks because we
All right.
grocery shop in 2-week chunks. So I have a 2-week chunk that I grocery. No, I don't want. What is best for us is yes, honey. What is
I'm
best
glad
for
you're
me?
understanding.
I agree. That's why I said I wasn't taking that
That
advice.
makes sense.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to. These streets are
You got a
sick.
pretty cushy deal going.
I'm doing well for myself. Anyhow, we totally forgot to show you our Sorrel and Sage products, but next week
for sure.
we are so excited.
And
Sorrel
thank
and
y'all. We got our first celebrity guest and all of that stuff. That's all due to this woman's work. She's
I
a
am
networker.
fascinated
I
with
honestly-
Simone Redwine, attorney Simone Redwine, because she was on Ready to Love, and she does Ages and Stages podcast with her current fiance Rashid, who she met off the show, and I follow their journey, and I think it's amazing. And so, like, she's my best friend in my head, and so I've stalked her a little bit, and now she follows us.
I want them to send the asteroid and just get it over with.
Robert. Moving on. Anyways, we want to thank our sponsor, Sorrel and Sage, who sent us the best gift pack. Rob has gotten like everything under the sun, including his beard oil, his body oil, his sensitive skin, because he's got sensitive skin, his sensitive skin special lotion. He's just got it all, and he's so excited because Rob is spoiled. If you do not know, Rob is spoiled, and Rob will not lotion his own skin. So when he now comes out of the shower, he's excited and he sprawls all 6'9" of himself on the bed so that I can rub him down from head to toe in Sorrel and Sage. So we end on his beard, which smells fantastic. So we want to thank our sponsor, Sorrel and Sage, for sending us the most amazing gift pack. She also sent an amazing gift pack for me, including the Sheba butter, which was named after Muwa, that smells absolutely divine and fantastic. I can smell it right now, and I put it on this morning. So I want to thank Sorrel and Sage. Make sure you check them out at Sorrel and Sage CA and shop Sorrel and Sage. www.phoenixisfun.com. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like and
And
subscribe.
subscribe.
We're not asking for anything else but that. Like Rob says, the bill's going to be paid regardless. So just like and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the show. And thank you to Attorney Simone Redwine for dropping in this evening and making my night. Anything else?
Yeah, for sure. No, appreciate the support. Appreciate the love. Hit the follow button on Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Again, we'll be here next week, 9:30 Eastern. You do the time adjustment for wherever you at. Here every Thursday until, and we're gonna do a little pop-ups because those of you that are not aware, we're gonna figure out how to do something. Yes, Phoenix's traffic is terrible. The prices are crazy because the Super Bowl is in town. So we're trying to figure out, we'll kind of show y'all some of the side things going on. I'm saying we ain't going in because I ain't got $250 to go see nobody.
We're not paying
now.
$250 for anybody.
Look, the last concert I went to was Hove. Like 444, like for real. Like it to me, the honor of sitting in place to see a particular person is.
Listen,
like,
I went to see Beyonce and Jay-Z on the run in Toronto years ago, and I got last minute tickets for me and my daughter, and we had floor seats, and they were about $175 each for floor seats to go see Beyonce and Jay-Z. So no disrespect to anybody else in Phoenix, I am not paying $250 to be a general admission at nobody's party. No disrespect to you, because you are not Beyonce and Jay-Z.
I like Meek Mill, but I am not paying to go see him.
You were not Beyonce and Jay-Z. I'm just saying, but I digress. You're going to see where we are. We will be around.
Yeah, we're going to be around.
Some pop-ups. You'll see what's going on.
Events. Yeah, the casino's got a ton of events. So I think a lot of the stuff we're going to do is going to be popping up around there. And we'll see. Let me not ruin it because we might not do nothing, but
we will do something.
Chilling on our own in Phoenix because we got the Super Bowl and the Phoenix Open is going on. So we got a PGA Tour event and the Super Bowl on Sunday. The PGA event kicked off Thursday. So Phoenix is lit this week.
And then it will go back to not so lit next week.
Black people, a few more y'all show up, please. Like if you can just afford to get out of town for the weekend, come to Phoenix. We need you.
Like, come on. Like we need something because as of next week, as of Monday, then y'all leaving.
All right, but appreciate y'all joining. We out of here.
Bye, everyone. Bye. See you next week. Bye-bye.